Europe has imposed huge taxes on Chinese electric cars. However, China has an answer. They've actually begun building electric cars in Europe already, intriguingly using factories from Nissan. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. It's great to have you with us. You know, BYD, they've begun making vehicles in Brazil using a Ford factory. And this kind of thing now is happening all around the world. Chinese automakers are taking over factories from legacy automakers. Now, Europe is the next place. Leapmotor, they're already selling vehicles that they are planning on apparently building in Europe. They're a Chinese manufacturer, and those EVs now are for sale in Europe for the same price as an equivalent internal combustion engine vehicle. Well, Nissan just said a few days ago that they have 12 to 14 months to survive unless they get bailed out by some huge investor with a potentially multi-billion-dollar loan. In other words, Nissan are in big trouble. Chery, one of the biggest automakers in China and actually one of the largest EV manufacturers in the world, have actually begun building electric cars in Spain using Nissan's old factory. Chery Automobile, a major Chinese automaker and the country's biggest vehicle exporter, as in China's largest vehicle exporter, has begun building vehicles in Spain at a factory jointly operated with local partner Ebro EV Motors. The first model produced at the plant in Barcelona's Zona Franca industrial district is the Ebro badged S700 crossover. Now, this information was actually revealed on the 23rd of November. The factory, which Nissan decommissioned only a few years ago, is Chery's first production site in Europe. And as you can see, this is what Chinese manufacturers plan on doing in Europe, making EVs, or at least assembling them. So obviously, Chery are not actually manufacturing all the parts going into this vehicle in China, in Spain. They're making them in China, they ship them all the way over to Europe, and then they assemble these vehicles in their factory in Spain. BYD are planning a similar strategy. They're planning on factories in numerous places, including in Hungary, also in Turkey and other places, including North Africa. And what they'll do is have what they call knock-up plants. They'll ship all the products, the skateboard itself as well, basically that's essentially the real heart of the car. They'll ship that, and then they'll assemble those vehicles in Europe in order to avoid paying these EV incentives. In some ways, you could call this sort of like a Trojan horse. It's already happening. And the Chinese automakers are not stupid. They're determined to take an enormous slice of the European car market, and they've already begun doing exactly that. Volkswagen as a group are about to shut down several car factories in Germany. They just closed a car factory in Belgium. Legacy automakers in Germany are scrambling. Apparently, there is thousands and thousands and thousands of vehicles made by German automakers sitting in parking lots that are now full. Those parking lots have never been full before. And here's the kicker. Germany says that these car manufacturers from Germany have to pay to park their cars at these shipping lots. They just sit there while these German automakers are paying or renting these spaces for cars that they can't sell. Thanks for watching. Nissan is finished. Even its own executives are admitting as much privately to the press. After firing 10,000 people this year, including 1,000 in the United States last week and 1,000 on the exact same day in Thailand, a Nissan executive has said the company is in trouble. In fact, they actually said we have 12 or 14 months to survive. As I've been saying for years now, Nissan is on the verge of bankruptcy. And the biggest problem here is getting funding. Banks are saying, your debt is rated at junk, your sales are collapsing, and you don't have products people really want. Is it smart for us to lend you money? Well, okay, we'll lend you some money, but only on this condition. And that condition is what is causing all the problems for Nissan. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Now, guys, if you can tip us, there is a tip button on the screen. Based on the value you believe you feel you've gotten from this episode, that would be fantastic. Nissan Motor Corporation, well, they are in search for an investor. Basically, someone with deep pockets who is willing to give the company the money it needs to keep paying its bills, as the company grapples with what it has labeled emergency mode during a press conference earlier this month. Measures include cutting 10,000 jobs, slashing 20% of its global manufacturing capacity, closing factories, selling off its shares in Mitsubishi, delaying the launch of new models, cancelling them altogether. Now, according to one Nissan official, the brand may have just 12 to 14 months to turn things around and basically figure out a way of getting out of the hole that they're in. I don't believe there's any chance of that happening. I honestly don't. I think the only way for Nissan going forward is that some other big company who are doing well, potentially maybe BYD, bails them out and purchases the company. Now, it is also possible the Japanese government could try to bail them out, but remember the Japanese government, Japan has more debt than any country in the history of the world. Any country by a significant margin. I mean, Japan's up here. In second place, it's so far down, it's ridiculous. Like watching a Usain Bolt run against 10-year-olds, for example. That's the difference. So sure, the Japanese government may want to bail out all of their entire automotive industry, but the reality is that they just can't. There's too much debt. Whilst I'm filming this video, the Nissan Automotive Company are selling their shares in Renault. So they've sold their shares in Mitsubishi, they're selling them in Renault, and fortunately for them, they actually own 46% of the Japanese brand. Well, actually, they used to. Now it's below 40%. But they're going to dump that stock because, well, they have to. Honda apparently is finalizing a deal with Nissan to co-develop electric vehicles. But honestly, Honda and Nissan, neither of these companies should have anything to do with each other whatsoever when it comes to EVs. Neither of them know what they're doing. They don't. They get contract manufacturers to build their electric cars for them. They don't know what they're doing. They're better off simply buying BYD vehicles and rebadging them as a Nissan or a Honda, which is what they do in China. Well, they don't exactly do that, but they do something similar to that in China. According to the Financial Times, at least two unnamed senior Nissan officials have confirmed the brand is looking for a new anchor investor. Good luck with that. We have 12 or 14 months to survive, one of them told FT. This is going to be tough, and in the end, we need Japan and the US to be generating cash, the senior official added. That said, it's plausible that either Honda could step in to be that anchor investor, or even that Renault could sell Nissan's shares directly to the rival brand.